afternoon, class. You are welcome to Wanies Academy, and my name is Olawale Oladusu. In the mathematics class today, we'll be looking at adding and subtracting fractions. Last week, we looked at multiplying and dividing fractions, and today, we'll be looking at adding and subtracting fractions. The aim of the lesson is to understand the steps in adding and subtracting fractions, and the objective is that at the end of the lesson, the students should be able to know how to find the sum of fractions and also know how to subtract fractions. Adding and subtracting fractions is the skill of ensuring the fractions in the calculations have common denominators so that the addition or subtraction can be carried out. Let's say, for instance, if we have 2/3 plus 1/5. So we have to ensure that they have the same denominator. And how can we make sure that they have the same denominator? Is to look for the LCM of 3 and 5. Then with this, we'll be able to add or to subtract the fraction. Now let's look at the steps in adding and subtracting fractions. The first step is to ensure the fractions have a common denominator. That's the first step. And the second is to add or subtract the numerators. And while the last step is to write the answers as a fraction in the simplest form. Let's say, for instance, if we have 12/18 to be the answer after adding or subtracting the fractions, you just have to simplify it to the simplest form. And how we're going to do this, we're just going to divide this by 6. Divide 18 also by 6. Then we can have this to be 2/3. All right, now let's look at the first example. We're asked to work out 2/5 plus 1/6. Example 1. We have 2/5 plus 1/6. So the first step here is to ensure the fractions have a common denominator. If you look at the denominator of the first fraction is 5, while the denominator of the second fraction is 6. So we have to make sure that they have a common denominator. So how we're going to do this is to look for the LCM of 5 and 6. So we can say that the lowest common multiple, or the LCM of 5 and 6 is 30. We have the LCM of 5 and 6 to be 30. So what we just have to do next here is to multiply the first fraction by 6, multiply the numerator by 6, multiply the denominator by 6 also, and to the second fraction, we'll multiply the numerator by 5, also multiply the denominator also by 5, so that we can have a common denominator. So here we have the first fraction, which is 2/5. Or we just look for a number that you're going to use to multiply the denominator and to make sure that it's going to give us 30, which is the LCM. So that will be 2 multiplied by 6, 5 also multiplied by 6. So 2 times 6, we're going to have this to be 12. And 5 times 6, we're going to have this to be 30. So that's for the first fraction. For the second fraction, that we have 1/6. So the number that we can use to multiply the denominator to make it 30, that's 5. So meaning that we're going to multiply the numerator by 5, also multiply the denominator by 5 also. So we're going to have this to be 1 times 5, 6 times 5 as well. So 1 times 5, we're going to have this to be 5. 6 times 5, we're going to have this to be 30. So if we look at this now, we have a common denominator. So we can now find the sum of the fractions. So we're going to have this now to be 12 over 30 plus 5 over 30. So the next thing that we're going to do now is to add the numerator. We're only adding the numerator, so we can still have this to be, that's 12 plus 5 over 30. Then 12 plus 5, we're going to have this to be 17 and over 30. Then if you look at the numerator, is 17, we have the denominator to be 30. So there's no number that we can use to divide 17 and 30. So our final answer is going to be 17 over 30. All right, so let's move on to the second example. We have, all right, example 2. We have 2 whole number 1 over 5 minus 1 whole number 1 over 4. So this is a mixed fraction. So the first thing that we're going to do here is to change the mixed fraction to an improper fraction. Then after changing it to an improper fraction, then we are going to make sure that the denominator have a common denominator. Then from there, we can now subtract the fraction. So the first thing that we're going to do here is to change 2 whole number 1 over 5 to a mixed fraction. So we have 2 whole number 1 over 5. So if we want to change this to an improper fraction, we're going to multiply 5 times 2, which is 10, then 10 plus 1, which is 11. So we're going to have this to be 11 over 5. Also, the second fraction that we have there, we have 1 whole number 1 over 4. So we want to change this to an improper fraction. You multiply 4 times 1, which is going to give us 4. Then 4 plus 1, which is going to give us 5. So we're going to have 1 whole number 1 over 4. In improper fraction, it's going to be 5 over 4. So we've changed the mixed fractions to an improper fraction. Then we can now subtract it now. So we're going to have this to be 11 over 5 minus 5 over 4. Now, if we look at the denominator, we have the first one to be 5, we have the second one to be 4. So what we just have to do here is to look for the lowest common multiple, or the LCM of 5 and 4. So we can have the LCM, lowest common multiple of 5 and 4 is 20. So what we have to do next is to multiply the first fraction by 4, because 5 times 4 is going to give us 20, and also multiply the second fraction, both the numerator and the denominator, by 5, because 4 times 5 is going to give us 20. So for the first fraction, we have 11 over 5. We are multiplying the numerator by 4. We are also multiplying the denominator by 4 as well. So 11 times 4, we're going to have this to be 44. Over 5 times 4, we're going to have this to be 20. So that's also an equivalent fraction of 11 over 5. So the second fraction, we have it to be 5 over 4, which we are going to multiply both the numerator and the denominator by 5. So we have 5 times 5. we also have 4 times 5. So 5 times 5, we're going to have this to be 25. And 4 times 5, we're going to have this to be 20. So from here now, you can see that they have a common denominator. Then we can now subtract the two fractions. So we're going to have this to be 44 over 20 minus 25 over 20. So we are only subtracting the numerators. So we're going to have this to be, that's 44 minus 25 over 20. So 44 minus 25, we're going to have this to be, that's 19 over 20. So that's what's going to be our final answer, because we can't simplify this. There's no number that we can use to divide 19, and now we're going to use the same number to divide 20. So this is going to be our final answer. So that will be all for today's class. In our next class, we're going to look at the real-life applications of fractions. So thank you for joining the class, and if you haven't subscribed, do well to click the subscribe button. Thank you, and see you in the next class. Bye.